The seagulls follow trawler. It's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much.
Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Here we go. T.N.F, the Bhoycie bus is back, and we have a third member to add to the lineup. The regular contributor on a Thursday, David Logue, is now going to have a compadre, a colleague, a teammate, and it was last week's man of the match in what was a procession to that question of Celtic win over the endless Celts. It's Conor McCann. Conor, how the devil are you, son?
I'm magic, mate. I wish I could say I came in flawlessly this evening, but it wasn't to be. I bought a new mic and everything ready for my new weekly appearance on the bus. And what's happened? I'm back to the same old shite. Cannot get the bastard working. We will go again next week, but this week we're just going to have to. I'm just going to have to play it same old, same old. If you can't hear me, it's my terrible audio.
I know, mate. It's actually not fading in and out like it normally does, ironically. So
that's a wee bit closer there to try and we'll see how we go.
Don't put pressure on yourself, mate. It's all good. David, what's happening with you, big boy? Look at that tash.
Finally, the T.N.F has come back to Thursdays. And the amount of star power shining through my screen right now. Woo! I'm going to have to get some glasses on because look at that. We've got the main man, the man of the match staring right at me. And I've got the Bhoycie himself. What a team, boys. What a team. Here we go.
I was not prepared for that, mate. I love that.
That was a proper welcome, Conor. It kind of put mine to shame a wee bit, to be honest with you. In other news, I did pick up the old COVID today, so I was sent home for work. Been feeling really shite, guys. I'm really sorry for myself, but I'm feeling fine now to do a show. I thought, fuck it. So let's get on with it. David, you've messaged me saying the intro wasn't up. The intro.
Well, usually it pops up on my screen. I didn't see it, so I was freaking out that we were all just staring through everyone's souls for 4 minutes or so.
Mate, I was freaking out. My sound died again with the intro. I thought, oh no, I'm not just another thing. Once I put the AirPods back in, I heard it again. So, but I was trying to get everything set. to sound a wee bit clearer, and
It's gone
we're
again,
just
mate.
getting right back down to the same thing. So
It's terrible again, mate. It's like it's crackling every time you're saying a word, mate. I'm not joking. You need to do it with the earpods. Disconnect the earpods, mate.
right, I'm going to try and disconnect them again, but I might not hear these. The last time I done it, I couldn't hear.
Right, just turn it up on your phone. It should just come out the phone speaker, no?
We'll not pick it up because we've got the.
Right, okay,
we'll not hear it.
Right, well, right, we're in.
It still sounds shite. What's going on?
No.
Right, I'm
Plug in
gonna.
that 20 quid, mate.
Connor, I'll remove you now and then just come back in when you think you've got it sorted, right? Do a couple of tests because there's a wee test option, all right?
Right, I'll do a few wee audio tests.
Right.
Run it.
Mate. David, that didn't last long, did it?
Short-lived.
He's not up to it, mate. That's him. God.
Loan to buy options out the door. There's no loan option to buy.
You're not going to make a cut, Connor.
Try list.
We'll move on to the T.N.F as it was meant to be. We always on the T.N.F though. We hand the keys over, David, to the passengers. It's great to see so many names already in the comment section. Kaiser HTT season again. Good man. Phil McGinley's there as always. Francis Cartney of the Endless Celts is watching. David Kelly's back. Ryan Taylor's in. Brilliant to see, guys. Now, what we will be doing, obviously, is taking as many points from you guys and discussing them at length tonight on the show. Usually we just kick things off, and it's a no-brainer where to start tonight, David. We've spent £3.75 million, I think, with a further 10%, sell-on clause for the little Argentine left-back, Bernabei. This is an exciting move for Celtic. It's one that seems to have kept imagination, again, loosely based just on YouTube reels and things. But in fairness, I think it's been more the feedback that we're seeing from the Argentine sort of journalists and the press that have been featured on other pods and things like that. And we have definitely, I think, seemed to have won a watch getting this young lad in. It's not often that we sign players from South America. Last left back we had from there was Larsson. He's Uruguayan, I'm sure. But we did have one also. Is Honduras? Is that South America? Izagiri?
It is, yep.
I'm sure it is. That wasn't bad going in the slightest. So yeah, I think everyone's extremely excited about this. And one of the other reasons as well is it's because it's business done early. It's the 30th of June, not the 31st of August. David, where did it all go right?
It's refreshing to get a guy, to get the business done so early. We're not used to it as Celtic fans, and I think we're almost already starting to get itchy feet that it's not happening quick enough, because obviously how quickly it happened in January. It happened even before the window had even opened, so even that was even earlier. So we're not even into July yet, and we're already going, where's all this sign? we're not used to this. We'll get them all in. So I think we're all excited and we're already waiting for the next one. And but to focus on our new and our first Argentinian signing, I think you can't help but get excited when it comes to South American players. I think it's just, as European-based players that we're so used to it, it's nice to get to see this sort of the sexy sort of South American style that we all love to watch when we watch the World Cup. So you can't help but just imagine the guy's going to be a world beater. We'll soon find out whether he is or not. But I think from what we've heard, and I believe the fans of the club that we bought him from are pretty disappointed that he's left. He's a feisty one by the looks of it. And he's obviously a very quick player from what we've seen on YouTube. It's just everything that Ange wants in a player. I'm excited. And everyone else obviously is excited just to see him, to see where he goes. Whether he goes straight in the team or not, that will be up to Ange, and will be up to Greg Taylor as well if he's going to want to still be our first choice left back. But exciting times, and I'm buzzing to see what he does, what he brings.
I know, me too, definitely. Connor, first Argentine to ever sign for Celtic, and there is always something as David says, that just captures the imagination when it's a South American player, and you see the fancy clips, the pace that he plays at, some of the spectacular goals and assists that we've seen as well. And we definitely needed to strengthen that area. If we look at it from a Celtic perspective as well, because to say we know loads about Bernabei would be a lie, right? But what we can say is it's an area of the park, I think there was a general consensus. It was identified that it needed strengthened, not any way, shape or form. Greg Taylor thought, particularly the second half of the season, he really had his best Celtic jersey. I think that would be fair. But it was certainly the park I felt that needed to be strengthened and get stronger competition in. I'm hoping that Bernabei is going to do that. Would you agree left back would have been a priority position for yourself as well, Connor?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in terms of Celtic, as you said, it probably was the area we needed to strengthen the most, I would say. Yes, Greg Taylor's been excellent for the last 6 months, but at the end of the day, the other two left backs, whether it be Montgomery and Scales last season, let's be honest, weren't good enough. Greg Taylor, I think he'll push Bernabei for a lot of the season. Bernabei, I think it's a brilliant sign. I'm very, very surprised it's the first guy we've signed from Argentina. I don't know why I had in my head we'd signed somebody for Argentina before, but delighted with the signing. I think he 21 years old, £4 million. I think there's a bit of noise about him in his home country that if he comes and hits the ground running at Celtic, then we could be seeing him at the World Cup a few months down the line. I think he's now got a realistic chance of that from the kind of the very few Argentinian mummers I've seen on Twitter. But it's as you say, it's an area we had to strengthen. It's an attractive looking name. There's a kind of glamour about it being an Argentinian. Something we're not used to, something a wee bit different for us. And it's. Oh, so am I still sounding terrible?
Aye, terrible, mate. Is there no way? Yeah. Is there no way you can just get the audio to come out of the phone? So see if you were just no headphones.
See two ago when I was still sounding terrible. That's what I was doing then. I don't know.
But it didn't sound as bad then.
Plug in your mic again. Plug in your original mic again, mate.
Right. Let's try.
You can keep mucking about. Me and David will just carry on chatting.
Did you hear the?
I'll just mute him. You can still look at his gorgeous face. I've just hit the mute button on. That's all. So
he's just he's eye candy. He's Matt O'Reilly. Matt O'Reilly of the group.
See when he's fucking bastard. I can't handle this. You know what I mean? He'll be swearing under his breath. Everyone will be able to see him but not hear him. David Kelly comes in. Brilliant to have you on the bus, David. Ange isn't daft. He knows we needed CCV, Jota, a new left back, and a better backup keeper. Jota could be wrapped up tomorrow. I think that's more than likely and likely to be spoken about as well. Then it's a case of squad strengthening. We can take our time with that. It's very interesting because whilst we never stop is the mantra, I 100% think if it's not a case of just squad strengthening, I think for me, if we're going to make a decent fist of the Champions League, I'd be targeting centre-half as a position to bring in a player to work. Can you not hear us, son?
I can hear you. It's just that I can still hear the echo I was getting before.
It's all crackly when you talk. Is there no way you can just hear it through your phone, no?
Let me see.
So, David, I think there is squad strengthening to be done, perhaps a wee bit, but I think Ange is very much looking for quality over quantity now, and I think it's going to be players that can compete for a first-team jersey, such as Bernabei coming in. Obviously, CCV and Jota were already first-team regulars anyway. I still think that first team can be improved on if we're going to have a decent tilt at the Champions League. What would be the next position you'd be targeting?
I don't think Ange is actually too worried about spending the cash as well. I think he's made it pretty clear to the board that, look, if you want us to progress as much as he does, or, as he's saying I do, you're going to have to dig deep. And that's, I can't help but feel like we're starting to see that coming into fruition. How much did we say we've spent on that boy there? About three and a bit million. And there's, if we sell him on, there's a 10%.
Various fees. I think it was 2.5 initially, and then it's up to 3.5, and then back.
Yeah, and then obviously you've got the big cash was spent on CCV, big cash for Celtic, big cash on possibly Jota, hopefully tomorrow. This Sousa that we're being linked with, they're talking they want 8 million for this boy, and Celtic don't seem to be letting up in the links with him as well. I think that's definitely a position I think we need to be looking at as the central midfield, the defensive midfield role. With Beaton leaving, there's a position there to be filled, or certainly a position on the bench to be filled.
Yep.
Whether it's an £8 million defensive midfielder, who knows? But Ange doesn't seem to be, he's clearly not wanting to go into the Champions League and be made a fool of on his first go. He's had a taste of, you could say, embarrassment in Europe this season, and I don't think he wants to taste it again, or he certainly wants to go in with a chance, make a fist of it, make a good showing of us, and he doesn't want to be on the end of a 6-7-0 drumming. And I can't remember if it was Monday or it might have even been on the Friday. I don't believe Ange does have this whole myth that Ange only has one way of playing.
Yep.
Like you touched on it. I totally agree with you there. He's bringing in players that he can adjust his system, the Neil Lennon there, to play a certain style. This whole Ange's style, I think it's more of his philosophy that he wants to play attacking, attractive football, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he won't be willing to change the formation.
It's only one personnel. Exactly.
No, it's if I need to adapt the style of play for the Champions League, I'll do that, but I'll still want us to be on the front foot, and whether we defend from the front I think that'll be more of what he's looking to do. I know I've went off on a wee tangent there, but that's why I think he's looking at these kind of players like your Barnaby or Barnabau, I pronounce his name, your likes of the Sousas, these guys that are going to be able to come in and do a good defensive work, but on the front foot at the same time.
No, I think that's fair enough as well. And I think, Conor, there is various positions that Celtic can still strengthen in, and it doesn't necessarily need to be. I think what David's touched on there is very interesting, because it doesn't need to be necessarily. It has to be that they have to play the exact position, that we see in the current template of formation that Ange operates in. That's actually not a very progressive manager if you can only play one formation, and I think it's a bit of a slap in the face to Ange's abilities that people think that. I think David's hit the nail on the head. Ange has only one philosophy in football. That's fair, and I'll take that on board. But there's no way you're telling me he's been a manager, and he'll remind you, manager 26 years, and he can only play one formation. Oh, come on, that's just nonsense. And you can't go to the Champions League setting up the same way you do at home to Ross County. All due respect to Ross County, or anyone else for that matter, domestically. That's not how it works. He'll be cute enough. He's proven time and time again that he is a savvy man, a savvy manager. Celtic have the tools. I think there will be further strength, and I think it will be more money spent. I can see in the comments, Mark Kearney's came in, David Caleb came in, talking about the amount of money that we've spent so far, Conor. I don't buy into it quite as much that we've spent as much as that this summer, and I'll tell you why. The fees agreed for Jota and Cameron Carter-Vickers were agreed last summer. Not on the basis we win the league, not on the basis we get the Champions League jack, because remember, we could have still won the league and not got guaranteed Champions League if Villarreal, for example, had won it. I don't think they were hinging factors. We took them with the option to buy based on, you cannot do that without, proof of funds. Celtic's never been in a position where they've started going, yeah, we'll take that on a loan and we'll use next season's money that we don't know we'll have on them. That's not our mantra. So that money was, in my opinion, ring-fenced from last summer onwards, Conor. I think right now, in real terms, we've bought in Bernaby and we've brought in Siegrist on a free. I expect there to be further spending at Celtic. I expect this board to finally have to come out its shell and finally have to match the ambition of the elite manager that they've struck gold with, who's united a club and a support like, no one could believe. And he said, he saved the bacon. It's very important they now give back. I actually feel remarkably confident that they will do so. Conor, what's your thoughts?
First of all, how am I sounding now? My head is gone.
Crackling, mate. It's
Oh
crackling.
no.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Have you got nothing plugged in?
Nothing plugged in. Not a thing plugged in.
So there's something wrong with your phone then. It's not even any of the
Aye.
cables, mate.
I'll drop it again, see if I can work out.
Drop down and try with the microphone again. Didn't get wound up, mate. We'll see you in
I've obviously changed a setting somewhere, but
Plug in your.
my head's gone.
Aye, that's cool, mate. Don't worry, take your time. David, I'll let you answer the question instead. Then you're probably thinking you had a 5-minute break there. Oh, Bhoycie's talking shite. Connor's going to come in. I'll just take
a tangerine there. I was going to open a wee orange there. Do you want to repeat the question, Bhoycie? No, I think you're right. I think, I think you're totally right. If we want to keep a hold of this elite manager, and we're not throwing elite out there lightly. I genuinely believe we do have an elite manager there. If we want to keep a hold of him and we want to match his ambitions in Champions League, which I like to believe that they do, deep down they do, they're just going to have to. I think we need somebody on the board to be brave, and I'm starting to think that this Nicholson is willing to be that guy. Big money bags Nicholson at the minute. You know, he's dipped in his pockets already. He's looked like he's ready to back the manager, and I can't feel like he's got a lot of faith in Ange. And I think he knows deep down if it don't, you know, the clubs are going to start circling. We all know what happens in that Premier League down south. You know, a couple of bad results and managers' heads start rolling. You know, who's the first person they start to look at? It's who's doing all right up in Scotland, and maybe not necessarily Neil Lennon, but certainly with managers that have got the reputation that Ange obviously has. He's well thought of in the City group. You're not telling me there's people down south not speaking to the guys at City going, here, that manager he is up in Scotland's doing not too bad. So he has to. So they're going to have to back him. And I think you're right. You're totally right. We haven't, in the grand scheme of things, that budget for CCV and Jota has been set aside. And I think that's why we've been kind of seen a bit of almost calmness and from Ange and maybe you could say the board about the signings. Don't worry about that. We've got the cash put aside, and we get that. And then we're going to have the extra cash coming in from the Champions League,
of course,
to then strengthen. Arguably, yes, we have strength. We are still strengthening moving forward by signing Jota and CCV permanently, because you can argue that it's the same. You know, it's just two guys that you had last season, but yes, now they are our players. You know, they're on our books now, so we have moved forward slightly. But now that we've got them, who Ange have already had in his head, we'll have them next season. He was sure of it. We've got them. Well, one of them definitely. Now we can start, right, where are we going to strengthen next?
Yeah,
that caliber player. CCV and Jota are a class above the signings that we've been looking at in the past, clearly, and that's now the benchmark. And we either have to hitting that benchmark with our next signing, or even going further above with an £8 million and £9 million signing. And if it's Sousa or whoever that may be, they have to dip into those pockets and they have to get them signed up. They have to get them signed up if we want to start pushing further in Europe and being in the Champions League every year, not just every 5 years, and then be happy with a Europa League run and a Europa Conference League run. We are a Champions League club, and we have to, you know, plant our flag down in the middle of that circle and be there every season from now on. That's just has to be.
I think you're absolutely right about that, and it's all about progressing. We're not sitting in the Bhoycie bus always saying, you know, oh, they need to spend because that necessarily means a player's better. What it does, it gives you the game of percentages, David, is if you sign 10 £8 million players, there is a better chance that there'll be a higher amount out of those 10 that'll be success than there would be 10 £2 million players. Otherwise, there wouldn't be 10 players valued at 8 million and 10 valued at. But anyway, what we definitely want to see is that first team getting strengthened. We're going to talk about outgoings in a minute, but I have to say a big thanks to the legend that is Chunks in My Trunks, Bhoycie and Phil. Definitely not David's name, but I can't make the 31st my wedding anniversary. It's ruined my life. Thanks for all the hard work, lads. Thank you so much, Chunks. That is really generous, mate. Very kind of you. We do appreciate it. David, are you still there? I thought you'd frozen there, mate. Your face was that.
I was going to say you've been freezing pretty much on me the whole time we've been on. I was hoping it would
Have
sort
I?
itself. So I've been having you freezing on me this for the last 25 minutes, but I kind of thought it would sort itself out. But maybe it's doing the same on your end for you. I don't know.
No, I've not been freezing at all.
All right, okay. You've been a bit laggy on my end, but I don't know if it's to do with my internet or not. But as long as the viewers are fine.
Aye, they normally say, or they're maybe just used to it.
Aye.
Anyway, thank you very much, Chunks. We are going to talk about Mark Kearney's point. Mark's obviously a member of the Bhoycie Bus these days. He's a bit of a legend, we've got to say already. Okay, guys, what's your views on outgoings? Do we need to free up, I think he means to say, some space, not just financially, but for the dynamic of the squad? What do you think about outgoings? Obviously, there was a lot of talk last week about the Juranovic one. Fabrizio Romano put a club on it at Atletico Madrid after the initial sort of, bomb being dropped that Juranovic was being touted for a departure from Celtic, and it got a lot of people in a bit of a frenzy. We spoke about the financial benefits of that and the footballing side of it. Obviously, you've got to take into his account. There was then a tweet that we seen today as well, saying 2 transfers at Celtic, one incoming to be Jota, and the one outgoing was the Hammers logo, which would suggest a player leaving for West Ham. Do you think it is essential that Celtic sell a player, or do you just think it's our way that each summer, if there is a player, say with 2 years left in the deal, that if a good bid comes in, then we will find out from that player if they intend to extend their contract, or if in fact they'd be quite interested in the move, and then we take it at face value from there. I think Celtic will never be a closed shop come the summer. That's my take on it. I think Celtic is open for business every single summer, whether people like to admit that or don't like to admit it. The financial realms we operate in, we were talking on Monday with Jonathan about the League Cup money and stuff like that. It's just a total embarrassment. And you look at it and you go, we can't afford not to be anything but open for business, David. I think there is still a good chance one of our first team sort of regulars could depart. It'll all depend on who, and it'll all depend on how much. Could you see a player leaving Celtic this summer?
I can definitely see players leaving this summer. Whether it's going to be a big name or a mainstay in our starting 11 leaving, I'm not 100% sure because, or not 100% convinced, because I don't. If we manage to get rid of some of the dead wood, and this dead wood I'm talking about is quite expensive dead wood, and I might not necessarily mean on a transfer, like we make a decent transfer on these guys. I think we're going to, if we can get rid of Albion Ayeti, we've already managed to get Barkas off, most of his wages off the books for now. And these boys both came in on a £5 million each, so they're going to be £5 million paid as £5 million players. So if we can get Ayeti off the books, and if we can, obviously, Bolingoli is going to be on decent wages.
Yeah.
If we can get rid of these kind of players, like a good few of them, that's a fair bit of money off the wage bill, as well as making maybe a couple of million here, there, and over, and here, there, and everywhere on these sort of Diddy players. Might be able to substitute us getting rid of a big name player, rather than losing Juranovic for, we're saying nobody wouldn't even look at entertaining anything less than 15 million. But if you can get rid of Albion Ayeti, Bolingoli, Soro, a couple of other guys that are just taking up airspace at the club, that's a decent chunk of change. And it might compensate from saying, look, get rid of the guys, and that frees up a bit of cash. I don't need you to get rid of Juranovic. We need to, if we want to progress like we've just been talking about, we need to keep these kind of guys. If you don't want to make some cash back on some players, get rid of the ones that we didn't need. If that's not going to be the case, and we talked about a couple of weeks ago when we saw a little rumour, a rumour that we've seen on Twitter alluding to the West Ham move is Turnbull. Now, I don't want to see Turnbull go, but I could see Ange seeing him as more dispensable than Juranovic, because it's very difficult to replace a player of Juranovic's quality as easily as it maybe is to, we've got a good, healthy, strong midfield that we can replace Turnbull easier than it is to bring in a top quality right back. And if that's the case of we do lose a mainstay player, it's more likely, I think, going to be a player like that, whether we've got room to wiggle about with.
Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts there, Conor? Now, obviously, Celtic's business model has been this fucking annoying term that gets used now, a player trading model that we've been using for the last 10 years. Oh, shut up. But the thing is with it, what we can take from it is 9 summers out of 10, Celtic will sell an asset. Now, with the Champions League riches, with the fact we've been so proactive in the summer, does that make you think there's been a change in attitude, a change in stance from Celtic this summer, and we should be extremely excited? Or do you think it because we've spent, whether I think it's 16 to 18 million or not, say we have spent that on paper because of the Jota and CCV deal, if we've spent that, does that actually increase the likelihood that the Celtic will at one point go, we're getting a nosebleed here, we need to sell someone? I think for me, there's certain areas of the park we cannot afford to sell. I think centre half, we just can't afford to sell either of those two. It's just simple as that. The goalkeeper we couldn't afford to sell. Neither the two strikers, Kyogo or Giakoumakis, we could. So then you're whittling down the areas that could be done. I think you do get to centre midfield and the David Turnbull rumours that still seem to be floating about. Obviously accelerated again today, Conor, with the West Ham sort of Hammers icon being done on some tweet. I mean, it could be someone who doesn't have a clue. They're just causing mischief. But could you see Celtic still selling an asset this summer? David's away now.
But firstly, just check it very quickly. Is that any better? Right,
Perfect.
I'm on Jess's phone, so I'm total backup now.
Right.
But right. So player trading model. Here we go. Aye. Hopefully, I'd like to think the kind of attitude has shifted a wee bit in terms of how we actually think about the kind of way we operate in terms of that. I can see in recent years why that's been the case. But when you look at it, I think every club in the world to some degree has a player trading model. I mean, if you look at basically any club in the world, if the right offer comes in for one of your assets, it's got to be something you consider. Celtic's just in that kind of unique position where a lot of the time Premier League teams seem to kind of use Celtic as a go-between there. They kind of use it, we'll see how you get on at Celtic, and if you get on at Celtic, then we'll come in with a higher bid and we'll take you. But in terms of this summer, obviously we've seen the Juranovic links and what folk have been on about, we shouldn't be entertaining bids, it's a sign of where we are as a board. And realistically, from Fabrizio Romano's tweet last week, we really don't know that. We don't know what the board attitude is towards, for instance, Juranovic, Turnbull, or MD. We don't know what they're actually valued at. We don't know, say, if they would accept, or what they would accept, what they value the players at. But in terms of, do I think we'll sell somebody this summer? I'm going to go out on a limb and say no. I think with the unique opportunity we've got of being straight into the Champions League, we've got the guaranteed 40 million. I think it will take a very, very good offer for one of your assets to actually take the plunge and let them go. And in terms of, if you're talking first team players like a Juranovic, like a Turnbull, who seem to be the kind of two players that are mentioned quite a wee bit now for whatever reason.
You're muted, mate.
I give up, man, because I was coughing.
Right. God, I thought that would be gone again. I was a bit shocked.
This is going to be
no, definitely. I agree with your optimistic views. I like them, Conor. I like the fact you think they're not going to do the usual and sell this time for a position of strength. We're only going to keep building it. I think it's fanciful, if I'm honest. But I would love it to be the case. I would love it to be the case. There's obviously a difference in attitude that we've seen so far in terms of the timing of these signings. I think the timing of Ange getting his business done in January was such a crucial aspect of us winning the league title. I genuinely think for the Champions League tilt, and obviously the first half of the season, I mean, the league season begins in July. It's still 3 points a game from the first half of the season as much as it is in the second half of the season. I mean, I think, again, it is going to be absolutely vital we follow our own lead from January and make sure we get the identified players from Ange in at an early stage. That's how we'll round that bit off. Who else is in the comments? I've not brought up any comments in ages. Dom says it's been comical tonight, guys. I don't think I could disagree with that. I mean, that's just unbelievable. I'm having coughing fits, so I'm just putting myself on mute whilst I'm doing that. Do you know what I mean? Real COVID, but it's just been one of those things. There's Mary Harper saying hello, boys. Hello. David Kelly actually wants to question Romano's tweets. His track record is actually terrible at getting rumours right. He's an exotic name, so people believe him. Maybe. Kaiser, he's wanting a centre-back, a holding midfielder. I agree with both of those. And then he's wanting a striker called Jordan. We had a great fun talking about Jordan Larsson on Monday. I think I convinced half the Celtic supporting family that listened to the bus. I don't mean half the actual Celtic supporting family. Oh, like 50 of them. But I think we probably convinced about 50 folk with the feel-good vibes to have Jordan Larsson joining. Connor, what would you make of the King of Kings laddie rocking up at Celtic Park? Just picture that photo. That photo, Henrik, grey suit. Jordan in the middle, holding the shirt, you know, with the name and the number on the back, and then to the left, Big Ange just grinning like, you know, just like a man going, I'm fucking a man full of tricks here. I'm just a box of tricks here. I think the Celtic world stops briefly that afternoon and that happens. I genuinely think there'd be supporters outside the ground for that one. I think it would cause an absolute stir. The fact Henrik would be in town would be enough for that anyway. Is it one that captures your imagination, Connor, or is the old romantic and Bhoycie getting the better of them? And in 2022, we need to be talking about football strictly as a business.
Do you know what? Normally, I would actually go along a different line to what my thought is. Oh no! Don't tell me. Do not tell me. Is that right?
How's that happening?
Oh, man. The stream's got COVID, mate.
I don't know what it's happening.
It's mental.
I don't know if it's a Wi-Fi, but honestly, I can't look at it now.
No, because it sounds like a connectioning, but that's two phones. Folk are just laughing now. Folk are just laughing now, mate. I don't.
Right, I think for the good of the stream, I'm going to maybe drop it.
Right, no worries, mate. But no worries. We will see you next Thursday, Connor, right? You've got a week.
I'm going to get all this sorted, and I apologise to the folk in the comments.
No.
This has been a shambles, isn't it?
No, you're fine, mate. Don't you worry about it.
Pre-season, mate. It's pre-season.
Right. This is like Henrik. This is Henrik Larsson's debut.
Sound engineer last week, right? And then she get back to you, right?
It's like Henrik Larsson's debut against Hibs when he gave the ball to Chick Charnley. Right, get off. Stop talking. Oh, David. And then there was two again. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Someone's at it with that. How could two different phones do the same thing? That is mental. But we were having a bit of fun with the Jordan Larsson thing. I mean, I don't think there's any real substance in it, David. But I suppose you do still have to raise the question, you know. I mean, we've heard what you thought of it. Like, would you ask him the question if you were at the top at Celtic? Or do you think 100%. It is just fanciful? You would?
No, I don't think it's fanciful. Like, no, I don't believe it's fanciful at all. Like, this boy's been alone at AK. Is it AK Stockholm? And there's a chance that they could possibly sign him on a permanent. Like you said on Monday, we could blow them out the water financially if we really wanted to sign Jordan Larsson. We could certainly offer a stronger contract than I believe. No disrespect to them, but I think we could blow them out the water as well. But there's no better opportunity to make that signing if we really did want to go for it. He was getting touted as a £25 million player only last season. So it was already like, he's never signing for us now. And whether he's good enough or not, only time would tell. And I don't believe for a second he wouldn't manage to play in the top flight in Scottish football when he's been, okay, he's not had the best of seasons this season, or last season, but the boy, he's got a decent goal scoring record. Right, I mean, it's a financial PR absolute goldmine. You get Larsson 7, 11, I don't know, whatever number. Obviously, you'd want him to have the 7. You'd probably have to take Gigi, put an arm around Gigi and say, listen, mate, there's a number 9 shirt there with your name on it, mate. I think you look better with a number 9 on your back anyway. I'm missing seeing a number 9 up front for Celtic. Gigi, take the number 9, mate. We've got Jordan Larsson coming in. It's get the number 7 on that shirt. It flies off the shelves. Yes, it does capture the imagination, but I don't actually think it's that out there. I believe he's good enough from what I've seen. He's like looking at his stats and keeping an eye on him. I think every Celtic fan surely cast an eye over and what's Jordan Larsson up to these days? How's he getting on in Russia or wherever he was playing before then? It's the King of Kings' son. Yes, that's going to come with a massive pressure on the boy, but that is up to him whether he can handle that pressure. There's an argument to say he could score 20 goals a season and it wouldn't be good enough because his dad scored more. But Jordan Larsson in an Ange Postecoglou side, I don't see why we shouldn't at least be asking the question, like you say, put it to Ange. Ange, is that a player would you be willing to sign him? Looking at the way he plays, don't take away the fact that he's Henrik Larsson's son. Does the way he plays, his goal scoring tally, his physique, his personality, does it all fit the Ange Postecoglou system? I don't see why he wouldn't. And we need another striker. I don't care what anybody says.
No, we do.
We need another striker.
We
saw what happened last season when Kyogo was out for an extended period of time. Well, Giakoumakis was at one point people were doubting whether he was going to be able to fill the void left by Kyogo. And we didn't even have him for the beginning of the season. And we're having to play Abada and Maeda for the middle, and even sometimes Tom Rogic up front. Whether Jordan Larsson wants to come and sit on the bench at Celtic, that's really up to Jordan Larsson if he believes that he could take somebody's spot. Or any striker to come in would have to come in and try and take someone's spot. And I think Ange Postecoglou's going to give plenty of players opportunity to play. I don't think there's going to be many players sitting on the bench twiddling their thumbs this season, especially if we're keeping the 5 subs. And on a free, it's a no-brainer. There's no real risk, really. The risk's really on Jordan Larsson. Can you live up to the name that's on the back of your shirt? That's up to Jordan Larsson. We've not paid mega bucks for him. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Well, exactly. I think commercially they would actually make plenty of money on it as well, to be honest. I think a lot of shirt sales you would get. I think you get the Celtic Megastore, But what can you do? Some people are up for it. Some people aren't. What's up next on the agenda, though, on the T.N.F? It's been a bit of a kamikaze T.N.F tonight. I don't know if I'm still freezing all the time either. I give up if I am, because I have no idea why. Everything looks all right at my end. But such is life. It's not been a great day for the old boys. Choked to the old COVID. Feeling awfully sorry for myself. Let's have a look. Just try to go through all the comments here, mate. There's loads came in. And yet everyone just seems to be replying to what we've spoke about as opposed to actually coming up with anything new, which is fair enough because the debate opens up that way. I like that. What's happening? Craig White, legend. You all right, mate? Just try to see. I spoke about it already. See, it's a slow news week, eh? I don't even know what else there is to talk about. Okay, we've obviously got the exciting news with Jota tomorrow. That is expected. Is it on the agenda?
I think it's on the agenda, yeah. I think it's about time. I think they wanted to get this Barnaby transfer done. He's the main event. He's the blockbuster. And I think that they're starting to realise that we're starting to get a little impatient.
Mm-hmm.
And it's maybe time to throw us a bone. Because this is just taking the piss now. He's not turned up he's not been at Benfica for training. He's not been us for training. He's been on the world's longest holiday. He's been working on that tan. He's been.
What do you think the reasons for that are? Why do you think he has been given an extended holiday when obviously he's not went back to his parent club? Clearly, it looks like probably the deal was in place before the holiday. What do you think the reasons for this happening has been?
I think Benfica's told him they're not wanting him, which I think's bonkers, to be honest. I think they've just said, look, whether you're going to Celtic or you're going somewhere else, find another club. So I don't think he's been asked to report back to Portugal. Whether it's been a case of just getting the fine details, crossing the T's, dotting the I's on the contracts taking longer than maybe expected, whether there's a signing on bonus, whether it's a case of what's the sell-on fee going to be, like in terms of percentage, kit number, all this kind of stuff. Like maybe it's just taking a bit longer than we hoped. We don't know what kind of agent he's got that's maybe just dragging their heels a little bit. Or it could just be a complete PR stunt where they're just teasing us, getting us all excited, keeping us engaged. We're constantly on their Twitter, we're constantly on their Facebook, looking for hints. Well, it's all, whether we like it or not, that's how the world works now. And these guys are brought in, full-time media guys are brought in to generate traction for the club, which brings in advertising money. It's all. Could be so many different reasons, and I think that the main reason I think is they're just dangling this carrot in front of us and just getting us excited.
It is strange because it's given him an extended holiday, though, essentially. When other players are back, he never played any international games. Now, I'm seeing various comments coming in. Is it a 1st of July registration with Europe? Benji Siegrist was 100% in training.
He was a free transfer, though, wasn't he? So do they need to worry about all that kind of stuff if he's not at a club? Because Jota's still technically at a club.
I would have thought there's either two sides to it. Whenever Jota's loan expired, that must have been before the window opens for players that have cost money to come in. But I don't know. I would be interested to find out on that. I still don't think that's right. I'm pretty sure pre-season last Monday he could have been there. I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. But anyway, either way, it's been a drawn-out process. But it is one, again, that once it is announced completely, I generally think it's one that captures the imagination again. I've used that phrase already tonight. He's certainly a player I think, no doubts, will be able to certainly compete. And I'm not saying he's going to take it by storm, David, and be the best player in the Champions League, but I think he can make an impact. If I froze.
You did there. I didn't know if you were just waiting on me to answer there or you had frozen. So I'm just going to answer you. Jota will make an impact. For me, I think people will already have their eye on Jota. There's no way people don't already know about him. His highlight reel, even in the Europa League, was impressive. We all saw that pass that he provided for Kyogo in the group stages of the Europa League. It's been all over Twitter umpteen times since then. People know who he is. He's the kind of player that gets people off their seats. He's the kind of player that I think, as a neutral fan just watching a game of football, can just appreciate and enjoy, because it's the kind of football that everybody likes to watch. So I think he's going to certainly attract, or he's certainly going to be a highlight of our squad in the Champions League. Teams being more open and not so sitting in defensively and tight like we experience every week in the Premiership is going to allow him to express himself. He's an artist, if you want to put it that way, when it comes to his style of football. He he likes a trick. He likes to entertain. So naturally he's going to he's naturally going to make an impact, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think that stage was set for him. What we're going to do, David, is we're going to call it early tonight. I'm feeling like shite anyway, mate, and the show's been a bit of a car crash, to be honest. Between me freezing, Connor sounding like he's underwater, yourself, you played the blinder, mate. You can take the man of the match award this week. We will call it a night. I'm feeling lousy as well. I'm going to go to my bed. The old COVID, I've never had it in 2.5 years, and I am feeling a wee bit bust. I thought I had it a couple of months ago. Remember in March, I wasn't well for a week, and I didn't ever test positive, but I thought I must have had it then. Oh, this is fucking mental. Oh, my body's all sore in that, man. It's weird. But apologies, guys, because it's probably not been the best show in the world. But we will be back tomorrow. We'll be doing the Double Doon show with Ross Muir, and hopefully I'll have some Wi-Fi to be able to do that. Hopefully Ross will be able to speak through a microphone, and hopefully all you guys will be able to join us. David, thanks for your efforts again, mate. I appreciate your patience with us. Sorry for calling it, mate, but I'm feeling shite, mate. All right?
No, that's fine, mate. Right, take care, everybody.
Cheers.
Some of his comments about me deliberately trying to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now, and you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan.